back with episode 3 here in Mosswick. Last time we got the monastery going and the manor house up with an extended treasury. We built some mines and upgraded a bunch of the town. Today, we're going to mostly be tackling the market. And I'm just going to say now, things got a little complicated and mistakes were made, but we'll get to that in a bit. For now, I'm going to start by moving the granary around so I can make some space for the city market and shifting some of the resources within those granaries to clear out some space so that I can eventually delete them or move them. It did turn out that I did not have enough splendor points in the labor section to actually buy the city market yet. So I had to go around and do some upgrading and some splendoring around some other parts of town. I also wanted to increase the beautification of some areas and get some light fortifications going so that I could start upgrading citizens and getting denser housing and making this look a little more like an actual downtown. So we'll get that going and we'll let the music go and we'll check with you in a bit. So now we can start working on the actual market after I upgraded the Tavern and some of the other job sites that allow you to add some labor-specific splendor. So I placed the market in here first and then started moving the stalls around. I didn't want to completely disrupt commerce while I built the new market, but I also needed to make room. So I started moving this guy around, and the last time in another build, I was a little confused exactly about how the two market buildings were supposed to work together. I thought you just would put them under the same kind of building section and let them roll, but as you'll see, that turned out to not so much be the case. I wanted to move the starting location for where the new people come into town and the well a little bit, and make sure all these other markets were still able to run while I was working on the big stuff. Now that everything was in place, it was time to let it build. So I started adding workers to all of the market stalls and swapping out all of the goods and making sure that stuff was trickling out of the old granary and into the new market stalls. So this is where things got wonky. I did a bunch of decoration and then suddenly couldn't build any of it, and I wasn't totally sure why. So I started fumbling around a bit and rolled over this exclamation point that said I hadn't built a supply depot, but I was under the impression that the markets themselves were the supply depots. So I wasn't sure if there was an access to the supply depot, so I added this door, which of course did nothing. And I kept looking for a building I had missed that is called a supply depot. I was making sure that everybody was assigned a job and that people were actually feeding the booths from the market storage. I genuinely had no idea what was going on. So I Googled some stuff. And the only thing I could find mentioned the belfry. So I thought I'd build that, thinking maybe that was somehow related to storage. The other problem is that I didn't really have all the resources to build this giant out-of-place clock tower that I really wasn't planning on building anytime soon. So that complicated a lot of other stuff in terms of where the well was, where these other market stalls were, where I was even going to put this massive bell tower. So I started working some stuff around and then had to effectively just wait and start trading a bunch and figuring out what I could do to save a bunch of the resources, because not only does this belfry, I thought, would help with the storage somehow with the market, but it also provides heavy fortification. So I figured we were going all in on denser housing, so I started adding other heavy fortification around the neighborhoods to match the upgrades that were going to come from the belfry. Then, as all my resources were depleted, specifically wood, planks, tools, I had to start trying to buy them in order to actually get any of this stuff built, because I figured the sooner the belfry went up, the sooner I could move on with whatever was going to happen with this market and let the other stuff upgrade around it. But that still didn't end up solving anything. So in the meantime, I added some beautification and expanded my treasury. Figured out I wasn't making enough flour, so I tried to build this windmill, but of course I didn't have any tools because they were all wrapped up in my other mistakes. And here we are, completed bell tower. But that didn't seem to solve the problem of me being able to continue building on the market and adding the things it wouldn't let me build before. So this long pause in me not moving the camera is because I am again Googling further, trying to figure out how I was led astray by whatever I had read previously, and this is where I think I actually solved the problem. The issue is that the second market building needs to be added after adding the plus sign for the new building add-on, and that was not clear from the start. That was super smoothly said. And I think I figured that out right about here. So I moved the market building I had out of the way, rebuilt a new one, and then demolished the old one attached to the initial market building. And then deleted the stalls, details, lamps, and every door and everything else I'd added before. While that was building, I took a look at this giant monstrosity of a bell tower that felt very out of place and kind of jammed into the place that I ended up putting it, and I decided, screw it, goodbye.
Yes!
So we're just going to keep going forward like I never built it and never made any of these mistakes. I just intentionally added heavy fortification to my entire downtown neighborhood, and that was all I meant to do the whole time, and this was all planned and perfectly executed. I realized I was making all this beer but only selling the berry beer at the other tavern I had, so I cleared out a space to make a second tavern a little smaller to get rid of that beer so that I could finally remove these initial granaries. Now that I had all these heavily fortified homes, I had to upgrade as many serfs as I could to commoners and a couple of commoners to citizens. So that's how this episode went. It was a little messy, and I learned something, but also very frustrating. The other thing that's not shown on camera here is that I did figure out that while I had upgraded all of my fortifications for these more dense homes, I don't have any glass or glass production, so none of them finished building. But hey, something we can do the next episode. See ya.